What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to continue the retooling, the reconstruction of NBA teams. This is a team that was on pace to make the playoffs but had injuries to their main player, Mike Conley Jr., getting a $28 million season, and it will only go up throughout the years of his contract until it runs out. This team is going to be very difficult to build a championship around. So I'm not gonna really help this video make them that good because the owner is a guy that said, "Hey, as long as we stay competitive, people are coming to the games. We got revenue coming in from the playoffs, and they rather do that than tank and be bad and be in debt." Memphis is not a big state, not a big city. So I mean, Tennessee and Memphis, you know what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, they want to stay competitive as long as they can so that way they can continue to stay relevant and keep people coming in the game. And I didn't really know that until I watched the Zach Lowe podcast, but this team doesn't want to lose. This team doesn't want to tank. And I don't really see them get rid of Mike Conley or Marc Gasol because they both look committed to the team. In the fact that, losing Mike Conley did allow them to accumulate a top five pick, which they can put with this roster and probably try to make a run for another playoff run deep in the playoffs if they get the right matchups. Plus, you still want to rebuild for the future. And usually when you as good as Memphis is season in and season out, you cut yourself off from being a top 10 pick because of you're winning. And the only way you can really get a top 10 pick, you have to have one of the worst records to have the best chances. And Mike Conley going down allowed them to get a chance to win a chance to get a top 10 pick, and it's a deep draft in the beginning. Let's go over the players that they could draft. We all think Aiden and Doncic might be going in that first two. But after that, you can get a guy like Jaren Jackson. You can get a guy like Mohamed Bamba. You can get a guy like Michael Porter or Wendell Carter. I doubt they go big with Wendell or even Bamba. I think Bamba is a little better fit than what people think because he is a guy that can protect the rim. He is a guy that can rebound. Remember, Zach Randolph was a significantly better rebounder than Marc Gasol, and Marc Gasol has never been known as a rebounder as long as he's been in the league. Even at his all-star peak, he never really even averaged 10 rebounds a game. Obviously, he was able to become the defensive player of the year, but that didn't include defensive rebounding, wasn't his strength. And it is good to have, as he's aging, his ability to coach and, get the best out of a player like him as a defensive player of the year player to pass down what just for the betterment of the team. As long as you're there, having an athletic guy that can switch and protect the paint. And Marc Gasol has also declined defensively. It would be good to have that anchor to help. Marc Gasol, especially if you can slide him to that power forward position, may not work really because he is not as athletic as the other power forwards that's nowadays. That's really small forwards and super athletic power forward, so he might not be able to guard that position one on one, but he will be able to take advantage of them on the other side because they're not big or strong enough to guard a guy like Marc Gasol. Even though Marc Gasol is more of a finesse guy, he like the hooks, he like the fadeaways. He can really post up those smaller forwards like Carmelo and stuff, and Giannis, and just really just get up in them and use that strength, use that body to outstrength them. But Mike Conley is the team. We've seen that they haven't been healthy and they still was able to really win because Mike Conley was able to elevate his game and play at an all NBA level. Even though he never made it to an all NBA team, he was able to get there, the year before this season and average 20 points a game, which was his career high. And he shot 40% from three, gave you 45 from the field, and still gave you the 6 assists and one steal a game. And at the same time, he dealt with injuries that year, but they was basically playing with fool's gold and still basically made the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals. So adding a new young piece to this nucleus can either extend their playoff window or it can either, make them want to go all the way out and tank. It is going to be hard, trading a guy like Conley and getting development talent back because you have to match up to that contract of 28 million. Plus, you gotta have somebody that you willing to get rid of to take on Mike Conley, and there's not really that many, teams he can really go to and start because most of the teams that's in the playoffs have great point guards or good point guards, especially in the West. And I don't really see one team that's really dying and dying and dying to need a point guard at the age that Mike Conley is at this point, which is 30. And by the time the season starts next season, he'll be 31. So I don't really see somebody giving up young assets to get a guy like Conley while still having to add up to that contract. And another thing, Chandler Parsons to me has been a guy that really hurted them too, and it's because he was a guy that was supposed to be that third guy that can play make and shoot the three and handle the ball, putting Mike Conley off of the ball and allowing him to do cut lane, get to the lane, and play make for him and Marcus All. But he been having knee problems, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He hasn't been able to, give the Memphis Grizzlies quality minutes, and he's making $23 million, and he's not really doing anything to contribute to winning. Even when he did play minutes, he looked decent, but then he looked bad, and he didn't do enough because they was bad all season. So Mike Conley, Marcus Gasol, and Chandler Parsons, that's not going to win you a championship. Maybe Chandler Parsons 5 years ago, you still wouldn't be a championship contender with Chandler Parsons 5 years ago. And now they're stuck with that contract because he's basically on an impossible trade. Only way they can trade Chandler Parsons is if they add that top five pick. Plus, probably, yeah, if you add the top five pick, you probably can move it to a team that's desperate. But other than that, if you just going to use Chandler Parsons as a contract filler, because you can use his 23, 24 million in the number one pick to get a star to come over, as that would become a deal that they'd take just to take the top five pick. But who has a star that's willing to trade it to Memphis and they willing to commit to Memphis, let alone take on that contract of Chandler Parsons for a couple more years? And, even though you might say, hey, we get a top five pick and we can get a future piece, what team is really in that position to do that for Memphis? So they really have, you know, they get a healthy Marcus Gasol, they get a healthy Conley. Hopefully they can get a healthy Parsons and add a rookie that can come in and contribute right away, like we seen with Towns, like we seen with Kyrie and Lillard, like we done seen with Jason Tatum. Um, this season, Donovan Mitchell was another good find that was able to put in quality minutes on team that won a lot. So it is a potential that you can get one of these 19, 20, 21-year-olds and you can just plug them right in as a starter and they can make a big difference with the playing time and the growing and development in the veterans like Mike Conley, like Parsons, like the coach, and also Marcus Gasol can help them develop and learn habits and teach them along the season. And maybe you can get a Tatum-like player that can give you some good minutes as a starter or even as a sixth man, and that boosts you up. And Tyreek Evans, I doubt that he stay. They should have traded him so they can get something for him, maybe a second round pick or a late first round pick. That's better than just letting him walk for free. Plus, he actually played hard and he gave you quality minutes this season. Why not try to capitalize off of that so another team can offer more years? But they didn't want to do it, so they got stuck with him, and now it will be salary cap relief. But with Mike Conley, Marcus Gasol, and Chandler Parsons taking up so much of their salary, it's going to be hard for them to sign a big name free agent, which they damn near not going to get anyway, because unless they move one of them three players, they're not going to win a championship, and they're not going to be able to sign any big free agent. So the free agent they can sign is basically nobody as long as they have all three of them under that contract. And with the top five pick, like I said, best case scenario, you get a guy that can come in there and contribute right now, which can help your chances in the playoffs. But I don't see nobody in the draft that can come in right away and bump Memphis all the way up to one of the championship contenders with teams like Golden State, teams like San Antonio, teams like Houston, and other young teams like Utah that got cap space and we don't know what they're going to do. And even teams like OKC, Sam Presti always got something under his sleeve to make a move to make them competitive. Plus, you got the young and up and coming teams like Denver and Minnesota that have already shown that they have the talent, they have the youth to be in the playoff runnings for years, and they also have star power in Miritich, Towns, Wiggins, Butler, Jamal Murray. And you still got the Clippers that's very well coached, and Doc Rivers is a guy that can get the maximum out of his players, whether they're superstars or role players. So if they can't really capitalize off trading the pick and trying to get rid of some of these contracts, they're not going to be able to add another star unless they get rid of some of these players. And the draft pick will be the only way they can get a star. While also the draft pick can only be possibly the best way they can get a guy that can come in and contribute on a great contract. Right away. Besides, if they do like they did with Tyreek Evans, use their minimum exception and try to basically get a guy like Tyreek again. But hopefully, you can run back the same team that you did last year, this year, and potentially make a deeper run if the injuries don't hurt you too much like they did last season. Which is well, this season they got hurt so much by the injuries that they was able to get where they are now. But hopefully, you thinking that you can make a playoff run with the core that always helped you make the playoffs. But like I said, it's only getting harder because the teams at the top and team at the bottom is getting better, and they accumulating so much talent that it's going to be hard for a team like Memphis to compete. And hopefully, Ben McLemore can develop into something. Having Parsons and McLemore in a guy like Mike Conley in a guy like Marcus All, you would definitely think that that'd be a formidable lineup. But Ben McLemore didn't pan out either, and I think they're gonna let him go too. Best case scenario, they get either Jaren Jackson or Bamba, or they can try to go after Wendell Carter, or maybe even Luka Doncic. Is some people said he was dropping, but I doubt it. But you most likely gonna get either Jaren Jackson or Bamba, which I think is a good fit around a guy like Marcus Hall that been declining defensively. Best case scenario, you trade. I mean, best case scenario, you get a guy that could potentially be Doncic as a steal, but I doubt he'd fall that low. Or you can go high on a guy like Wendell Carter, or even Mikal Bridges to add that 3 and D at that shooting guard position. And that's what that happened. Having Mike Conley and another person in that backcourt that can play hard and defend and give you outside scoring is something that this team definitely needs too. Especially if Parsons can not stay healthy again, which is more than likely because this has been going on for a couple of years. But best case scenario, you get a Mikal Bridges, you get a Wendell Carter to go again. Go up with Marcus All in that paint, and maybe you make the 6, 7, or 8 seed, and you keep the fans coming in. But I personally wouldn't continue to go this direction because it's leading you to mediocrity, and you're not getting a top 10 pick. But it is a business, and at the end of the day, your job is to keep people coming in, keep people excited, and do right by your fans, which is give them a playoff team. But I also think you're giving your fans a false hope and a false big picture because you're not really a contender with the roster you're currently under. You're over the cap, so you can't really sign anybody to make a big difference. And even though you're getting a top 10, top 5 pick, it might not be enough to push you into the Houston or the Golden State, San Antonio type of teams, which means that you're still going to have to fill out this roster. And if you can't, you're going to get beat by the better team, which has been happening to them for the last 5, 6 years. And that's with the Mike Conley, Marcus All core. So let me know what you guys think. Should they rebuild? Should they blow it up? Should they just run it back? Should they just use their pick to get a person that can come in right away and contribute with Marcus All, Conley, and Parsons? Or do you think that they should continue to try to find guys like Tyreek and Ben and just add a rookie that can either start or come off that bench and fill in some holes and give them some a longer playoff window to last for another 2, 3 years and potentially be a superstar if he develops right under this team. Playing with a team as hard nosed and as respected as the Grizzlies can rub off on the player, and that can make them accelerate their growth and be better than they really should be kind of like Tatum right away. Even Jaylen Brown is better than we all thought. He actually can shoot threes now, and he only been in the season league for what 2-3 seasons now, and he already showing potential of being a star and a shooter. So check out my website, NawesomPlayground.com. Link in the description comment section below. Check out my Facebook page at NawesomPlayground.com. Link in the description comment section below. I'm gone.